All right, guys, let me know if the audio is okay. As usual, if it's bad, it's your fault. If it's all right, yay me. But let me know, one, if you're ready to get into this, and two, where you're from, and three, what you shoot. Not what you shoot with, what you actually shoot. So type ready, where you're from, and what you guys like to shoot or want to get more into shooting. Let me know in that chat. Man, I gotta tell you, this summer, I am not a summer person. Let's just put it that way. I am a creepy fall weather person. And this heat just drives you crazy, crazy. All right, so type ready, where you're from, and what you like to shoot or what you want to get into shooting. What's going on? All right, here we go. I'm not seeing any readies in that chat. I know that I'm on a delay, but I'm not seeing any readies. Come on. We're not kicking this in. Come on. All right. Look at that. Finally got it ready. So we'll kick this in. All right. I'm going to take care of that. And we're going to do one of these. Bada bing. How we doing? What's going on, everyone in YouTube land? My name is Seth Miranda. Welcome to the Adorama event space, 42 West 18th Street. What's going on, Stephen? Kathy, you made it. Look at you. Eric, what's going on? Joel. All right, we got a bunch of our usuals. What's going on? I'm very grateful for you guys that are always piling in here, by the way. This is episode 20. We've been doing this for 20 weeks. 2-0. Can you believe that? Because I can't. And every time I set this up and I post the live stream link, I'm like, is it really that number? And then I scroll back and I look through all of them like, wow, that really flew, huh? Some of them are 2 hours. Every one of them is over an hour by, even if it's like a couple minutes. But you know, it's been quite a journey, and I just think you guys should know that we appreciate you jumping in this chat, because without you doing that, without you watching it back on replay, there's no point to this, guys. There really isn't. So anyway, Vega, what's going on? All right. Got Wisconsin in the chat. North Carolina's here. Sheila's sister. Yeah, you know, I always try to figure out what the relation between them are, but, you know, I'll leave it on. Raleigh, what's going on? Norfolk. Oh, I cannot speak. What's going on? Kurt, how we doing? All right. 20 weeks is crazy, right? This event space, I started building it July 5th or 6th of 2023, believe it or not. I finished it. I went live for my first demo, was myself, on September 5th. So we are about to hit the 2-year anniversary. There is a couple hundred videos on this channel for you guys to go back, free classes from all sorts of educators. And not for nothing, this month has been nuts. If you missed last week, we had Gary Hughes do one of the best demos. Unbelievable guy, unbelievable educator, super helpful, really personable, connects with people like no one I've ever seen. And we had Johnny Edward here. He did pretty much a zone lighting type demo, and 2 different styles, same model, amazing model, Gerald, male model, which a lot of you guys have been asking for. So that's from last week. If you missed the live chat, watch the replay. And we have so many amazing educators on here. Joe McNally, Lindsay Adler, Chris Knight, Ab Cisse, who has like 3 demos on here. Got a couple of my own, which I'm debating if I need to throw my hat back in the ring and be like a final boss and jump out of the tech chair and into the middle of the event space and do a formal demo. I know it's been a while since you guys have seen me shoot with an actual living model. No offense. I'm just saying, okay? I appreciate you. You know I got number love for you, but you know, so I'm still debating if I need to curate an actual demo. But you guys, what's coming up is nuts. Let's just really quickly go over the upcoming events that are coming in here. So number 1, you had Johnny Edward was the last demo that was up. If you missed that, it's on this channel. Make sure you check that out. Tomorrow is the return of the mighty Adorama photo critique. That is not streamed. I'm sorry, guys. That is in person only. So if you're in New York or going to be visiting tomorrow, swing by 5 p.m. Come hang out. You do not need to submit images to be part of that. You can just come hang out, right? We don't stream it for a couple reasons. One, we like a very intimate setting where we're really talking to people. We don't have to worry about taking anything. But two, nobody that's submitting images is looking to subject themselves to the entire internet's opinion about their work. They're submitting it to a critique from two guys that they know who they're getting and our credentials and their reasoning for having us look at their work, as opposed to random person number 8 zillion online. So we do that in person only. Wednesday, Timeless Light, quick classic portraits with Chris Knight. Man, you want to try to lighting tech? Chris Knight is your guy. Unbelievable, really great educator. And I think he has a style that anybody could take something from, you know, and make something of their own about it. On Tuesday, the 29th, oh, wait a second. Bob Davis is also coming in this week. It's not listed, but Bob Davis will be here. That'll be on, I had it on a piece of paper somewhere. Let me just take a look. Bob Davis is on Thursday, the 24th, okay? So the 23rd is going to be Chris Knight, and on the 24th, Bob Davis. He's going to go from preparation to light. I'm not really sure what it's about, but Bob Davis is a legend. I mean, he's a Canon Explorer of Light. He's the nicest guy on the planet. So Wednesday and Thursday, demos 5 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel. And then next week, Tuesday, the 29th, Drew Gurian is going to be shooting live here with Mastering the Power of One Light. Drew is an amazing photographer, an amazing human, has shot celebrities all over the place. He's just incredible. Really great style, really great outlook. Love the guy's philosophy. So you got banger demos this week, you got banger demos next week, and Daniel Norton is capping out the month with softbox alternatives on the 31st. So if you want to see what other modifiers are besides softboxes, he's got you covered. He's going to be going through that. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Johnny and Gary were both solid presenters. Absolutely. You know, I think those guys are exceptional photographers, really cool people. They definitely get people psyched to go shoot and give you tools to go elevate. Vanessa Joy was already here back in May, I think. End of May, she was here. She did a talk on business development and how to make money with your camera. So you can go check that out. That is on the channel. She's not local, so I get her when she can. She was here for Coffee with Creators, and she was here for the talk about business. So you can go check that out. Coffee with Creators is on the main channel. Speaking of which, we have our own Marcus Beasley in this chat. Will be here for Coffee with Creators. I'm not making this up, guys. This is a real thing that is happening. Let me get the link, actually. I wanted to feature somebody that's within our community that is a working photographer that doesn't get a lot of press out there, and you got him. So this is going to be, I mean, this is my personal, like, I want to get this guy on, and he's going to be here for it. So if you've been, why is everything so zoomed in? And just so you know, I have like 2 months of podcasts already scheduled and all this other stuff. So we're cranking on people and things and events and stuff. So that's the link for Marcus's Coffee with Creators. We're featuring him. He's going to be here. This is the guy. So Marcus Beasley, you're coming in, man. You are mine, kid. You are mine. All right. All right. All right. So I figured, what just happened here? So I figured, one, someone that you guys always see in the chat. 2, you get to know who this person is. 3, you get to hear about a guy who has images all over the subway, on bus ads, and this is just the job. There is no, like, you know, rock star moment, you know, but you get to see your stuff in places, and now you get to learn about how he did it, how he's been working in this city, and hopefully we'll make him feel comfortable enough. I don't know, Marcus. You got to trust me, okay, Booby? I promise to take care of you, okay? It was never on your bingo card. Well, guess what? Bingo. All right. Okay, so as always, I don't have a plan for this. I just kind of take your questions and we go forward with it. And that is a detriment to this stream because it's really hard to promote a stream when you don't know what they're going to be, right? I never really have titles. I never have topics. The thumbnails never really shown you what it is. So people are kind of rolling their dice when they come in this chat to be part of this. And that's fine by me, but I know it's difficult and challenging to grow the channel and grow the numbers. So if you're watching this on playback, let me know in a comment down below that you're watching this after it's live. A lot of you guys commented about my thing I said about Transformers. That was pretty amazing. I'm really glad that there were so many nerds in this chat room. Speaking of nerds, just so you know, after Marcus Beasley, if you guys are familiar with my work over here, do you remember that Popeye makeup that I shot? The real life Popeye that was kind of viral 10 years ago? The makeup artist, Josh Turry, who did that along with Neil Gorton. He's not going to be here, but Josh Turry will be here as one of my guests for Cough the Creators the week after Marcus Beasley. So that's pretty cool. He's worked for Saturday Night Live, Marvel, Netflix, has 3 Emmys. Real cool guy. We'll talk to him. Okay, so I'm sure the AMA, I'm sure the Ask Me Anything is even harder for you. You know, I take pride in it. So let me explain this a little bit, okay? So the Ask Me Anything, I feel, is a benchmark. If you are a pro and you are confident in what you're able to do, and you know, I won't know everything, but I have enough to either get to an answer or give you something from my experience of 25 years, right? So when you were plugging into this channel, when you were tuning into these streams, when you were listening to us on this staff, on this crew, on this production team, on this content team, saying something, you should know who you're hearing it from. And shooting live and being able to answer your questions on the spot without knowing what's coming should be a benchmark. This isn't a bunch of kids with cameras that are just kind of making content to make you laugh or fill your brain for 3 seconds till you scroll to the next thing. This channel, Adorama TV, all the hosts were all legitimate professionals that are trying to keep this industry, 1, going forward, 2, keep you guys elevated, make sure you guys are supported. It's not about, you know, make sure they're buying gear. It's more like make sure they want to keep shooting. They'll always want to buy gear, but make sure you guys have the tools, not just the physical tools, but the tools like the hands, the headspace, the inspiration to keep going forward with that. I wish I had something like this when I was coming up. There was no real YouTube when I was coming up, you know? So the Ask Me Anything I take a lot of pride in. It does get hectic. It does get bananas. I'm well aware that I am masochistic in this sense, but it is what it is, right? I watch live when I can, but I always watch replay when I don't catch a live. I always learn something. That's awesome, Kurt, and I appreciate you. I like the mystery box style. Is that how you feel about this? Like you don't know what you're going to get in this? To me, I don't work well with organization and curation. I can if someone's like putting me into a pro job and they're saying like, here's the mood board and here's the thing we're trying to aim for, and then I aim for said thing and I deliver. But something like this where I'm just talking out of my head and being Seth or whatever, Abc said it the best. He said, I think you're the best when you take the gloves off and you just go. Obviously, I still keep it professional. I keep the gloves on to some degree. You know what I'm saying? We're not over here saying the craziest things ever or getting controversial, but I am here to be honest with you and as transparent as I can, and just make sure that you are getting worthwhile information and stuff that you can actually use. Okay, guys? All right. So as far as the questions this week, you guys are welcome to ask questions in the chat as always. It's easy for me to catch them if you put like a bunch of cues in front of it. But I did want to go into the Adorama Discord, which if you're not a member of this, you're welcome to become a member of it. Adorama.com/Discord. And this is it. I mean, there's so many chat rooms for you guys to jump into. I'm not going to lie to you. This was way more active when we had a Twitch channel. It has subsided. There hasn't been a lot of activity. I'm trying to resurrect it, so I've been trying to jump in there. But there's rooms for every brand camera, all the lighting brands, grip. If you guys have a question about anything, pop in there. I'll try to answer it as we go forward. But in my room, under the host rooms right here, you've got my room, and I said, hey, over here is where you guys can drop the questions. And we've got a few of them. So just looking at these questions are kind of crazy. Oh boy. Okay, Kathy Brown is asking, can you achieve the look of an optical spot with another type of modifier? We can get into that for a few seconds. Well, not a few seconds, but Donald is asking, when using an umbrella, do you prefer shoot through or reflective? Darcy is asking, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the Godox Parabolic over the Glow Profonde? That one's going to be a little tough for me. We'll go into that. And this person's asking pretty much, are there any cool spots to recommend while you're in town for in New York? Okay, so Kathy Brown, let's start with yours because I got to give it to Kathy. She's always giving me something to talk about on this on the show. I'll say that. Can you achieve the look of an optical spotlight with another type of modifier? Well, first of all, what's an optical spotlight? I actually do have one. I do have one, right? I do have one. Yeah, I have one. Okay, so this is an optical spot from Flashpoint. I also have a Pro Photo one back there. There's a million of these, right? Like you have the Lindsay Adler one from Westcott and stuff. But pretty much what you're looking at is basically a projector, okay? Let me try to get it out of this box here. Why is this so stuck? What is going on here? Okay. So basically, this is missing a lens. Hold on, let me see if there's a lens in there. Like to keep you thinking. You guys have always kept me on my toes, that's for sure. Okay, so this is a lens for this. I don't know what lens it is, but we will find out together. Okay. And, so what you basically have here is something that attaches to a light. This is the Pro Photo mount version. There's Bowens mount versions like that. This will go on your light here. Light will go through it. You will have some sort of modification here, whether it be a stencil, which is there a stencil thing? Let me see. What is with this thing? I do. Okay, so this is a stencil. Sorry, I just opened this. BO, right? And that would go into here, and whatever you put in there, let's say it's like blinds. It'll project the blinds because there's an optic here. There's an actual lens here that you focus. So is there something that's not this that would do this? The reality is that what this is doing is shrinking down an entire room setup down into here without you having to move your lighting setup at all. What am I talking about? So let's say you wanted to project blinds. Well, instead of having, tell me there is a gobo in here that looks like blinds, because that would be really nice right now. Okay, so these are gobos. And let's see. Oh, they're all brand new. Let's say you want to project this, right? That. Well, you could, if you didn't have that, make this huge, chop up whatever, you know, cinefoil or some sort of heat safe blackout type material, Duvetine. You know, you could even use something like just boards or whatever, as long as there's not a lot of heat going onto it. Make it huge. And then the problem with that is you have to get, in order to project a pattern onto your subject, let's say I got Quinn here. Whatever texture you're trying to project will have to be closer to your subject, but your light source has to be farther away. Now, if this is huge, because we're trying to cover things and we're using just a raw light to do it, you're gonna need a lot of space to do that. And you're gonna be playing games with a hard light, with a lot of distance to hit this, to then project onto your subject. And then you're gonna be playing all these distance games with your subject, your stencil, or cookie rather, and your light to make it sharper or softer. Here, that entire room setup gets shrunken down into an optical spot. And then wherever you want to put your light, you put your light. And you focus it till it's sharper or softer on the edges of your texture, you know, the stencil, however you want. And then you've got these blades to cut it up even more, and you've got all these options. So this is essentially giving you all that control in a micro version instead of making a macro version. Does that make sense to you? So is there a modifier that can mimic it? Yeah, you're just gonna need a lot of room, and you're gonna be playing a lot of games until it hits right. Are you guys with me? The chat just went dead. Am I still live, guys? Tell me I'm live. I know that I'm on a major delay today, but and don't forget you have things like lens selection that you can mess with. whether it's a longer lens or a wider lens, depending on the projection you want and stuff like that. There's for what, okay, so let's put it this way, Kathy. I had to, years ago, I had to get these custom made. I have a focusing spot in my studio that is about this long, and it was for stage light. It wasn't even strobe. I had to get it custom, I guess customized so that it could have a flash tube in it, then hot wired to go to a Speedotron pack. And I had to make my own gobos for it, which I did a lot with glass actually. That's a whole nother discussion. But pretty much I would cut stencils and spray barbecue paint, like a heat resistant paint that you would buy at a hardware store for barbecues, and then peel off my sticker, and then I would have that on a piece of glass that could handle heat, make that my stencil. All that said, that light was super inefficient, was very inaccurate, and I'm not even making this up, like basically electrocuted me every third time I used it. It was killing me. But there was nothing like it. In fact, Daniel Norton borrowed it for an Adorama video where he was just lighting like Marissa's eyeball or something. It was like shooting with a laser beam. It was sick. It was awesome, but it was huge. It was heavy. It was unreliable. And it was actually, I wonder if it's even worth any money now, because these exist, you know. And the one thing I'll say about this is the BFP for the Flashpoint BFP. Okay. This is relatively affordable for what it's able to do. Let me see if there's even, let me see the things. Hold on. Let me go to Adorama. Let me go to Flashpoint, BFP, see if that comes up. Okay, so the BFP is $300. In the grand scheme of things, not crazy. You've got the Westcott version. You've also got the Profoto version, which has been a long time not in production. People were selling them for a lot of money on eBay because they weren't in production, but the small spot is now back in production. I have that version here. Why you would want one over the other? There's a lot of different things to put into oh boy, I can't, let me pull this out. This one is significantly bigger. Okay, so this is like a big barrel, right? Is one better than the other? It really depends on what you're trying to get out of it and what you like about it. For me, the number one thing I worry about when it comes to optical spots, number one thing is heat. Don't forget, you are putting something onto a light, and every time you fire that strobe, or if you have a modeling light on, which you're going to want a modeling light on so you can see what you're projecting. Something just came out of this. A screw just came out of this. Great. Let me put this. I will find out what that screw went to later. I just found this here, so I don't know who's been using it or what. But anyway, don't forget, you're going to have your modeling light on to see what your projection is. You're going to focus it to see how sharp the texture is. Maybe you don't want it sharp. Maybe you do want it sharp. Maybe you want it subtle and soft. Maybe you want it to look like some sort of depth of field effect. Maybe you want it to be very literal, like words on someone's face or something. Like, you can do that, right? But you're going to want to see that projected. So your modeling light's on, you're putting something over a light that's on, and the strobe's firing, it's going to gather heat, right? So that's my one thing that you can't really tell about a optical spot until you've seen reviews on somebody using it or you've used it yourself. And I haven't used this enough to tell you one way or another, but I haven't heard anybody complaining about it, if that helps, you know. Either way, a few $100 to do what you're able to do with an optical spot, there's no wonder they're so popular right now, right? And you know, I would say if you're that curious about it, it's not the craziest thing to throw a little bit of investment into and mess around with, you know? So is that texture like having a large cookie in front of the light? Basically, yes, right? So you're taking what essentially would have been a cookie that you're covering with a whole light and boiling it down into a gobo. And you can get custom gobos. You can have a whole stack of them in your bag and not take up a lot of space. But really, one of the things that's a huge key is wherever you put this light, it can stay there and you can work with it based on changing the lens or just focusing it, as opposed to playing this game of size of projection versus how focused and defined your cookie is, you know? So it saves a lot of headaches. Saves a lot of headaches. Is that enough of an answer for you? Does anybody have any questions? Was any of this even close to helpful? Because I feel like I just went all over the place. I haven't even put a lens on this thing yet, so I don't know what we're looking at for the Pro Photo one. Maybe one day I'll get into it. Maybe next week. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get into it today, though. The other thing that you get with, you know what, though? This is a big deal, actually. Is this it? Yes. The other thing you get with projection heads that you really don't get with making a cookie is something like the iris. You can really control what type of light you're projecting down to like a pinhole. I mean, are you kidding me? This is crazy. So this is super cool. And the other thing you get is, it's probably easier to show you on here, are these blades. So let's say instead of like a barn door, and it's not like a barn door, but you get blades to make a defined edge on whatever part of the light. So you put a texture in there, you then can cut up that texture however you want, block some of it. So then that saves you flags, right? Putting up another stand with a big light blocking type board or something. And you can make it softer or more sharper of an edge. Like, you have so much control. Funny story, when I bought the stage light and I brought it to a place that's no longer around, unfortunately, and I asked them to do the conversion, the guy looked at me, because I think I was 19. I was 19 or 20 or something like that. And I brought it to him and I said, hey, can you make this into a strobe? And he gave me a price, which I at the time I could not afford. I remember going like, oh, how am I going to do this? Anyway, he goes, I remember saying to him after he gave me the price, I said, look, is it worth it? And the guy, it was something out of like a 90s, like Home Alone type movie. Like, he just kind of like, he leans over the box, leans over and looks at me like I'm a little kid and goes, it's like shooting with a laser beam. And that was like the only thing I needed to hear. I lost my brain. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I need to know what this is like. Let's do this. And I think in my head, I was like, I want to project the Batman signal or something really juvenile. But I ended up doing a lot of cool things. I made the Venom logo on someone's chest one time. A lot of what I used it for was ripping across a wall to make like leaves, like foliage looking moonlight. I did a lot of that, and it was super helpful. It was just such a pain in the neck to drag around the city and set up. And I was pushing it through a Speedotron pack. And don't forget, a Speedotron pack is basically like carrying around a heavy Apple box full of wiring. So it was cool. And I do remember the amount of heat I was pushing through it as well. That was kind of nuts. It was so, I remember touching it and like always getting worried it was going to shock me because it was just so shady. But anyway, hope that answers your question. Yeah, I did the Venom logo. Actually, I probably have a really bad version of it somewhere. I have it somewhere. Anyway, so that's kind of what you're getting with an optical spot. And the thing is that they're just so accessible now. There's so many options now, but I would strongly advise you to stay away from anything that's like a brand you don't know or something that just looks like a copy paste design, because those are the ones that tend to overheat. They look like they're vented or whatever, but they're not. They're just kind of made to look like they are. But when you build up heat in one of those, and then you are taking life off of your strobe, you're taking chances on color shifts of what you're doing. Your accuracy goes out the window. Your light overheats and you're not shooting. What was it worth? What was it worth? And how expensive was that strobe versus whatever you bought off of wherever, you know? Let's see. I'm trying to find, like, I probably have yep. Okay, so this is a really bad version. This is not a good version of it, but This was a projected Venom logo I did on this kid's chest for a test makeup a long time ago. Very, very long time ago. I wish I could redo the shot. But hey, you can see the thing, right? So that was that. Okay. I wonder what the date on that is. Okay, so this was in 2011 I shot that. Well, 2011 is the file. Probably older than that. So, geez, I'm old. Hate it. All right. Yo, Predator Badlands is looking pretty good in my opinion. I'm super psyched for it. It's funny how much I love Predator, and yet there's so many Predator movies that just weren't good, but I still love Predator, you know? Stan Winston, king of special effects, love the guy. All right, so that was the projector head. I hope that answered the question about that. I just think you guys are in such an amazing era to be able to have something with this much control and creative option that didn't cost what it cost me to custom make out of a stage light I had to buy off of somebody here in New York from some kind of playhouse I think I bought it from. It's something. Okay, everybody good? You guys still okay in there? Got like 75 of you and only 27 likes. What is this? I'm killing myself, you guys. You want to go into, so the next question I got is, when using an umbrella, do you prefer shoot through or reflective? Well, one, I think it depends on what I'm doing. But if you're going to throw two umbrellas in front of me and say you can only pack one, more often than not, I'm probably going to pack the reflective, especially if I can throw a sock on it. And the reason, let me see if I got an umbrella around here. Looks like all I have are these giant umbrellas. Yeah. Actually, let me grab this one. I don't know what these umbrellas are. I think these are 5-foot umbrellas and they're silver. Okay, so if I have a so just so we're clear, by the way, there is a weird egotistical school of thought out there that everyone should just throw out every shoot-through umbrella. In my head, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. They're basically trying to say that you don't have any control with a shoot-through umbrella. And you do and you don't. You know what I mean? You have control based on how close it is to your light and how much of the umbrella you're using to shoot through. But it is spilling regardless of what you do. It's going to spill to some degree. So if you're looking for that spilly organic type light where it just kind of hits the ground and you're getting some kind of fill from some sort of surface around, they're great. And they're also pretty much like shooting through a scrim, right? If you think about it, it's like setting up a diffuser panel and shooting light through that. Very similar, except it's an umbrella and you got more of that umbrella shape to it, and you're not having to grip a diffuser panel or the diffuser out of your 5-1 reflector, having it hold up. It's kind of great in that sense too. But with the reflective, this is such a big umbrella. With the reflective, I'm able to, what happened to this? Okay, there we go. I'm able to have just this indirect light source that takes something small, like a small light, maybe a 200-watt second light, bang it into this, and then I have a larger light source. And then if I want to take down the size of the light, all I got to do is shrink down this umbrella, and look at that. It goes from 5 feet to 2 feet, and I get a different look out of it. And if I wanted to diffuse it, I can by throwing a sock on it, right? And the sock that's like a cheat code. You know, if you need like a giant light source that's not a lot of money and easy to carry around, instead of having a 5-foot octa, right? Instead of having a 5-foot octa, you have a 5-foot umbrella pretty easily, right? So I can just, bingo bango. Now I got a 5-foot, kind of a 5-foot light source here that is lightweight, easy to grip, easy to carry around. Is it as controlled as a 5-foot octa? No, it's going to spill everywhere. But who cares if you're going for that giant light look anyway? You make do. It's a good trade-off. It's an easy trade-off to have, in my opinion. So does that help for you guys? Like, you guys are way too quiet in this chat and it's freaking me out. I'm talking to myself over here. Talk to me, boobies. Where are you? All right. I mean, look at the size of this light compared to Quinn. If I'm shooting Quinn, I need a massive soft light. I've got it. And then let's say, well, we want to have more of a harder look. Okay. Okay. Well, guess what? Now with the same modifier, I have a harder look. And you guys have seen me do the whole like close down umbrella thing, whatever. So I'm not really going to get into that, but yeah. So helpful. You guys with me? I know you guys are just listening. It's just weird. It's just so weird. As someone who is literally in an empty room technically right now, it is killing me, you know? I remember when I first learned about Broly boxes, basically umbrella with a sock. Yep. I was so excited to have a collapsible softbox. So Broly is more of a UK term, from what I gather at least. Yeah. How do you keep the light in this big umbrella? Does that matter a lot? How do I keep the light, like keep it from spilling? So, okay, that's a question. Let me throw on here. I'll throw on this, I'm gonna, Quinn, I need a little bit of space. Hey, what's up, Tony? How are you? Let me get so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the modeling light on this Flashpoint 600 Pro 2. I'll turn out the lights in the space and you guys can see how we control this light. So this kind of bleeds into the next question. In the next question, Darcy's asking, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the Godox Parabolic over the Glow Profound? I'm going to answer that pretty quick and just say I'm not sure because I haven't used the Godox Parabolic at all, so I can't really answer that. But what I can do is explain a little bit of parabolic to you. Although I don't have a parabolic reflector here, I do have an umbrella, and we're going to talk about that. Although you should know that Ab Cisse did the best ever video about parabolic reflectors I have ever seen in my life on Adorama TV. Just type in Ab Cisse parabolic, the best. I mean, forget about it. All right, so we're gonna put this umbrella. I can't believe this is the only umbrella I've found right now is a 5-foot umbrella in this space. You gotta love this. Okay, come on. There we go, okay. So this is about a foot away. And before I go into that, I'm just gonna put this in the chat really quick. Ab Cisse parabolic. There we go. Command C. This right here is the best video ever for parabolic. If you want to learn about parabolics, it's a little nerdy, he gets a little crazy, but you have to with parabolics because if there's one modifier on Earth that people are snobs about, and annoyingly so, and I'm talking right to you guys, you egotistical snobs, it's parabolics. The first thing you'll hear is, that's not a real parabolic. They just love saying that. Anyway, here we go. Let me unlock this. Okay, so is that the modeling light? That's the modeling light on full. Okay. Can you guys see this? Okay, how about this? I'm gonna shut out these lights, all right? And we will, come on. I'll shut out these lights and maybe you can see it a little better. Come on. Okay, so if you're trying to control the light in an umbrella, it's the distance. So if this is only covering this much of, let me see if I can expose better for this. Does that look better to you guys? Can you guys see what's going on? If I push this further out, usually what I tell people when they're, why is this not holding? Hold on. Usually what I tell people when they are setting an umbrella is you can always stretch it out to the max where it's just hitting the edge, and that's the largest light you're going to get out of that umbrella because it'll just start spinning. It'll start spilling, right? But if you want to control it more, push it in, and now look, you see how this edge is going, this edge right here is going black? Well, then there's no light coming out of it. So this 5-foot umbrella really quickly became a 4-foot umbrella, 3-foot umbrella. Tiny. right? So let me see if you can see on me. Can you guys tell on me as a subject that if I tighten it down, you can see my face, right? And then if I push it back out, you see how much more of a wrapping effect I'll get, right? And of course, the trick I always like doing, which is like just basically closing it down, which will really cause a cone effect that will minimize spill even more and make it a physically smaller light, right? When we talk about parabolics, and this is like a really shady example of a parabolic, because the parabolic is really a light that's on a rod that's going in and out, right? And you're focusing the light. But the thing about the parabolic is the light comes back out perfectly straight. So you are actually focusing the light at different positions. There's about 10 positions on a rod for a parabolic. And I can't remember if they go, if it's 1 or 10 that you start with, but the closest position on a parabolic is actually what we call defocus. It's not even the sharpest, but people think it's the sharpest because it's at the end of the rod. The reality is that it's going to be different based on the size of the size, diameter, and the depth of your parabolic. There's a whole math equation. I'm pretty sure Ab gives you that in your in the video. But it's actually farther from that. You'll actually see it physically focus the light. If you have it on a flat surface, you'll see the edge of the light focus. And then you're able to do things like make it a huge light source, but still hard. What does that do? Two things that I find are super special about a parabolic is one, it's a large light source that's still hard. What am I talking about? Well, I'm so glad you guys asked. What a parabolic can do is still give you a hard light to give you texture and detail, like details out of clothes and the stitching and the yarn and details or texture of hair. But it can also soften it because it's physically larger. And that means is it's not a definitive shadow. The contrast is there, but the hardness gets taken down. The shadow transition goes down. So instead of having like a perfect, sharp line from like a chin shadow or a nose shadow, those break. But it keeps the contrast up with still being a hard light to give you the detail you want. So it's this very beautiful light that is very specific, Does that make sense to you guys? The whole thing with a parabolic is if you're shooting light through like a softbox and it's going through a diffusion layer, it's just scattering light everywhere. I mean, it's going in all sorts of directions at once, and that's what makes it diffused. It's not coming back out at a perfect, light isn't coming in and coming right back out. It's scattering around, so it's reflecting off of your subject in all sorts of patterns. This is great if you want to minimize specular highlights. Let's say glasses or something shiny. Instead of it being a perfect reflection, it'll scatter and have less of a chance to be a specular highlight to your camera. Now, if you do a reflector, which is something like this, which I think people don't realize they're called reflectors, but when you have something like this, right, that goes on the light, this is a beam angle. It's not a direct line, it's a defined beam angle. So it still has like a scatter to it, but not nearly what you would with a diffusion layer. When you have a parabolic, light goes in and comes all the light comes at a perfect straight line. So it's like it cleans up the light. I call it organizing the light, like it organizes and curates that light to come out at a perfect line. Is a magnareflector considered parabolic? No. So a parabolic, like I just said, I'm probably on a delay. No matter what the reflector is, if the light is going through it and it's hitting the edge of the light is hitting the edge of a reflector and coming out, it's just defining a beam angle. Okay. Not this specifically because it's an umbrella, but this is just like my poor man's parabolic right now. Light goes in and comes back out at the size of the parabolic that you have it focused to and at a straight line. The straight line is what's going to give you that contrast, that hardness. but the size of it is going to give you the ability to have a softer edge to your shadow transition. And because it's focusable, you can do things like not move the light or your subject, but still get a different type of light because you are physically changing it here. So it's kind of like a similar idea to what we were talking about with the optical spot, right? Everything's happening within the light rather than the entire setup. Parabolics are amazing and beautiful, and I even understand people being snobs about it, but they don't got to be snobs about it. What's amazing is you have options for parabolics that are a fraction of what they used to be. When I was younger, I feel so old in the stream. When I was younger, the options for parabolics were $3,000 to $5,000 minimum. And that was like you rented them only. That's all you did. Now, a few $100, you have something that can be parabolic. One thing that people don't take into account with parabolics is the fabric. So I personally believe if you want a real parabolic, it's got to be really smooth finish on the silver. If it's dappled at all, it's causing light to scatter. So you don't get that like raw kind of effect. Is it there? Yes. Is it going to be night and day difference? No. If you are sensitive to it and it drives you crazy like me, yeah, you're going to see a difference. The other thing that makes a big difference is on parabolics is how many panels it has, because the more panels it has, the rounder it is. And you want it to be as perfectly symmetrical as possible, and you lose that kind of perfect symmetry with less panels. There's 16, there's 32, there's all sorts of amount of panels. And it's just like aperture blades. The more there are, the rounder it can get. Does that make sense? So if you're going towards needing a parabolic, which is great for things like fashion, right? Head to toe, big light still shows detail. One thing that you lose when you have let's say an umbrella with a diffuser on it, one thing you lose is that kind of detail to it. But if you want that flat, soft light, a big umbrella with a diffuser on it will be just kind of laying that light on and scattering everywhere. So you don't get that edge contrast that you would see on something like a parabolic. You can totally put a diffuser on a parabolic. I have the Profoto Soft Zoom, which in my opinion isn't like a real parabolic, so to speak. It can get there, but it's not like what people in their head traditionally think about a parabolic if you're in that world, okay? But it has this amazing diffusion that you can get for it, and it is just beautifully soft, incredibly. But then at that point, what it turns into is what we call an indirect softbox. So it's a light going into a surface and then coming back out through diffusion layers. And instead of a softbox where you're literally pointing a light through a softbox through diffusion, it's hitting a surface, coming back out, hitting a diffusion layer, and then hitting another diffusion layer, and coming out so big and even and just like beautiful. It's super, super soft and just gorgeous. But you don't get that edge contrast, but you might not want it. This is where you start deciding what you want out of your light and what you want out of your images and what you want for your subjects. If someone came to me and said, these shots are all about this dress, this line of dresses, or this line of men's suits, I probably would be pulling out a parabolic just to make sure everyone can see exactly how perfect the stitching is, and the little details on the buttons, and how deep the weave is, and how dense the fabric might feel. Like, I want you to feel that product, right? And a parabolic can get you there. I might even go crazy enough to light the subject, like let's say it's a male model in a suit, light the subject with the parabolic, and then separately put a different light source just for their face, like maybe a small softbox to define his features more, or maybe a beauty dish depending on the person's face. But does that make sense? I feel like I just went through a crazy rabbit hole I didn't expect to go down. I hope that parabolics are like such a deep rabbit hole, and it's a lot of math, believe it or not. do yourself a favor and just watch Ab Cisse's video on it. I think it's like 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So I feel like I have been neglecting this. If they're not snobs about parabolics, they'll have to find something else to be snobs about. You know, the one thing I will say is I used to, as soon as somebody said like, oh, that's not a real parabolic, my brain would shut off in the past. But there was a couple guys that would be like, no, like I'm trying to make this happen. And if they're not seeing the edge contrast and they're not seeing that detail hardness that they're looking for, I understand that. But there are some people that are just like, oh, I used the thing and it's at this position in my light meter. And like, I'm just like, okay, what is your end result and what are you trying to do? What? You know, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Wow, man, that was exhausting. Hey, what's going on, Rich? How are you? What's your favorite go-to modifier and why? I hate that question because it really depends on my subject. So it's more about like what kind of subject and what will be my go-to. However, I will say if you give me a small softbox and it's a single human, I'm playing games of inches and angles with it to really sculpt someone out. It's like a 1x3 or 1x1 box, something like that. I could really do some cool things with, but it's very specific. But if I have to light their whole body, I'm not doing it with that 1x1 softbox, am I? So it's like kind of like tricky in that situation. What I will say is if there are times where if I just had to throw something in a backpack, I had a small softbox and then I would bring like a 3 or 4 foot reflector that has a diffuser panel. And then if I needed that light to be bigger, I had my small light and then I would throw that diffuser. I would project that softbox onto that diffuser, make it like triple diffused into a 4 foot light source. And it becomes like this really soft, bigger light. But the flip side to that is you need a lot of power to get through all that. So, you know, it's something like that, you know. Could you use an optical spotlight just for the face? Absolutely. Like I said, it's like shooting with a laser beam. You could totally do that. You just have to remember that something like an optical spot is traditionally going to be a very hard light source. So if you're going to point this into someone's face, the position of them to the light's going to make a big difference. Their skin texture is going to make a big difference. Specular highlights will snap, boom, boom. You just got to be aware of that part of it. There's no like putting an optical spot and then putting a diffuser here. You're killing what you're doing with this optical spot because you're taking away the definition of the light. Does that make sense to you? So it does so much, gives you so much. There's a lot of options, but there's also just the nature of you're literally projecting a light. Think of a projector, right? Think of like when you're in a movie theater and you can see someone walking in front and there's like a shadow of them. You're getting that, okay? All right. Oh, Vanessa Joy's in the chat. What's going on, Vanessa? Is there something you've never photographed that you'd like to? Is there something I photographed that I'd like to? I'd have to think about that. I never really thought about that, actually. I feel like after 25 years, I've been throwing everything. I mean, I've had to shoot alien autopsies, right? After that, it's like, what else is there, right? Let me think on that, Melanie. I know you're always in the chat, so we'll come back to that. Any tips on acquiring clients in a small county? We had a brief exchange on Instagram. Yeah, so... Right. So Vanessa Joy is asking what kind of clients. So are you trying to basically make a market happen where there might not be a market, right? So if you're saying like, oh, I shoot high fashion, but you're in a small county that doesn't really have a lot of designers or an outlet or a market for that, is that what you're going for? So bigger questions to be had on that one. If you're trying to shoot pets and there's no pets, that market isn't there, kid. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on, Vanessa? How are you? It is so hot in here right now. I'm not even I don't know what just happened here. No, this isn't so hot. I feel like I just bottled in a bunch of heat. It could have been that LED light for sure. Okay, so was that all the questions from the Discord? Okay, so we kind of went all over the place. We just blew through an hour just talking about optical spots and a makeshift parabolic. Parabolics are amazing. If you ever really want to, you can go rent one if you want to go try it out, but you really do have a lot of options when it comes to parabolics. And the size is going to drive you crazy. And what I mean by that is if you, let's see, glow profound. Let's see how much a profound even costs. Because I don't even know. So, okay. Remember when I said when I was a kid, you know, bronze color parabolics and stuff for like $3,000 to $5,000 or more? You're looking at a 55 inch. That's like just shy of 5 feet for $300. You can mess around now, right? I tend to go for, with me, parabolics for me are either huge or just for the face. So like something like a 27 inch like this, it would be very much just for like shoulders and up type shots. Good for things like jewelry, you know, that really high fashion-y type look that really you're trying to get a lot of detail of accessories type look. Or I go to like a 55 inch, I want a wall of light just like flying at them. And don't forget, the one thing that people kind of overlook with parabolics is if you put it directly behind you and you shoot like this towards your subject, they kind of give you this really, really elevated, not janky, elevated ring light look. So if you've been wanting that ring light look where it is beautifully on the face and then quickly falls off the shadow, so it's flatter on the face, still gives you detail, and then goes right to black. Think of it this way, you can light like that and then do whatever you want for the background. You can throw a gel back there, whatever, throw a projection back there, whatever, but where there is no light, I can always put light. So if I'm, that's why I'm a big believer in like zone lighting, where I'm lighting here, I'm lighting the background separate. Everything's a different area because I can control every single one of those. Where there is no light, I can put light. So that's kind of why I use a lot of, I'm always down for more control than not, because you will always lose control of light. But to have all the control of light, all right, whew, man. Our area is kind of cut off from big cities. I live in Humboldt County, Redwoods in California. Right, so you're looking, you shoot commercial work for small businesses, but seems difficult to find clients who value a pro photography. Well, if they're small businesses, then they're not in a position where they are looking. So if you're shooting like for a cafe, how many people do they really service, and what is their actual reach? Is it a few blocks in a small county and they make enough to keep the lights on and they have like a staff of 2 people? Or is it a larger brand that's thinking, well, we want to open up more than one location? You kind of have to, if you want to find clients that value a professional service that will promote a business, they themselves have to be looking to promote the business, in my opinion. I mean, that's, but if your clients are small, they're going to require a small service. They're not going to be looking for major things here, you know? And in that case, your best bet is to become like the person in that small area, that you are the go-to person. And to do that, it's just kind of hitting the street and kind of knocking on doors and going into businesses and being like, hey, have you thought about doing this? And giving them an example of something that you would deliver, seeing if you can get them to hire you. If they do a great job, and then go to them and keep showing around your area what you've done for other businesses. It only happens if you're creating proof of concept and showing what you will deliver, you know? I get it, it's rough in a small area, but you're also trying to do something that requires a market, right? You know? So maybe you look to travel and set up doing things in certain places, you know, like I travel a lot when I work. I want to shoot portraits. I'm not going to have everyone in the world come to me, but I can go around with a kit that I can travel with and start offering things and go from there. So if I don't know what kind of business you're looking to work for. I keep on saying cafes because they're usually pretty open to getting like images, especially if they have like seasonal items. So around here in New York, there's a cafe on every block, right? When fall comes around, they've all got their own version of pumpkin spice, blah, blah, blah. And they want to put out an A-frame. So they want a picture of a nice shot of what they produce to put on that A-frame so people stop and go into their cafe. But that's a one-time thing. You're going to shoot there and do that. But if you can say, hey, do you have a Christmas, do you have like a winter drink, a fall drink? Do you have a summer thing? And you get them to do it all in one shot and you do that as a full day. That's a full day rate. They have a lot to put out. And you can show a portfolio of stuff you've done for a business and then go to the next business and be like, I can do something similar for you. So you have to keep on creating your proof of concept and do it in an efficient way that they feel they're getting value out of it. Like I said, try to, even if it's not winter, get all their seasonal stuff in one day shot and move forward. They have to understand the value of what you're providing, and they have to want what you're providing. That's a big thing. There was an earlier question. Hold on, I need water. There was an earlier question about shooting in smaller home studio after working in a place with high ceilings. Right. So one thing you have to get over is not every place is going to be ideal, and you are going to have to adjust your setups for whatever you're trying to do. Okay. When you guys remember me a few years ago during the whole COVID thing, we were streaming from a 8-foot ceiling room that I wasn't doing bigger setups. You have to adjust your style, but still come out with something that would work for whatever you're trying to deliver. You have to be realistic here. You don't defy physics because, well, I shoot like this normally. To me, an actual professional is someone that can assimilate and adjust to whatever environment they're in to still deliver something at a level. It may not be the same look, but at a level. So for example, if you're used to shooting with a 5-foot diffused umbrella and you get this really soft look, but then you say to me, well, now I have low ceilings. Guess what? Bounce your light off that ceiling and put a diffuser between that bounce and your subject and get creative with your lens choice to deliver a similar look, but it won't be exact, but it'll still be a big open light source that's diffused because we understood the principles of what we were doing in that bigger environment. We just used the smaller environment to get to the same principles. I know it's not what you guys want to hear, but it amazes me how many people think that there's like this golden thing that just happens, even though you can't physically move in a place or you lose the resources or the real estate. Like there's always going to be a trade-off. Your key is to get to a place where you're still able to deliver a standard. Does that make sense? Yeah, Vanessa did a great talk on how to make money as a photographer, and hopefully we'll get her back here. And she did a great job on the Coffee Creators podcast as well. Absolutely, you got to adapt, especially if you're someone like a press photographer or shooting events. You're going to be in places that are just miserable to shoot. You're not going to have the most ideal light, but you have to figure out your principles and when to apply them and get optimal. Still deliver at a standard, Where can I get a Sheila? If you're talking about a mannequin that's painted white, there's this thing called the internet. I don't know what else to say about that. I was thinking an LED panel for a larger light source, but your suggestion is much better. The reality is like, okay, so boil down what you want. If you say, hey, I always deliver for this client, or I want this type of look. I want a really beautiful soft light. What gives me that soft light? Larger light sources compared to my subject, probably diffused, right? What could I do that's not the exact same setup in a larger space that would mimic the same properties of light? If I'm firing into an umbrella, what's in between that and firing into the ceiling? The control of it. Right? When you bang into the ceiling, it could cover a lot more area. Your background might get a little bit more flat and even. Do you want that? Don't you want that? Just because it happens and it's different from what you usually are used to doesn't mean it's wrong or not at a standard. You just have to kind of lean into your limitations a little bit. I bought 2 LED panels but didn't like the look. Yeah, I hear that a lot. You'd be surprised, but usually it's because people weren't sure what they were trying to get from the panels to begin with, and they were trying to get small things to act like giant things. And in the end, it's still physics. It's lighting is a science as much as it's a feel, and you can learn all the science and when to apply it. The feel is what really gives you your identity, And it also gives your ability to adjust on the fly by feel. You probably see me and Daniel do that a lot. Man, my throat is like drying out. This summer is killing me. If anybody is in New York in this chat, this summer has been just brutal. From like my hair getting all like knotted up and curled up and my throat like freaking out. Like it sucks my soul out of my bones, the heat. I'm too hot-blooded for this. Way too hot-blooded. Yeah, so we're at 50 likes and like 75 of you in the chat. If we get it liked, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new here, hit subscribe. There are 19 other streams of this alone. I made it into a podcast playlist if you guys didn't catch that. So I don't know if you guys use the YouTube podcast listy thing, but it is now that. Yeah. The whole Northeast has had a rough summer. I believe it. It's been brutal for me. And it sucks being on camera when you're like uncomfortable and you feel like you look like a wreck. And honestly, my energy level just is like on the floor. I just cannot, I do not stay too sane in the summer. It is what it is. Anyway, last questions, guys, because we're already at the hour, believe it or not. Cannot believe it. Don't forget, our own Marcus Beasley will be on Coffee with Creators on the main channel, 11 o'clock Eastern. This is one of our own, so let's support, okay? Don't forget that you have demos from Chris Knight, Bob Davis, Drew Garion, and Daniel Norton coming up. Tomorrow is the critique. If you are going to be in New York or you are in New York, tomorrow 5 p.m., come hang out. You don't need to submit shots to be part of it. Just fill up the seats to come hang out. It's not streamed, in person only. I went over that already. Speaking of hot summer weather, I noticed my Canon R6 getting overheated while shooting video on a summer day. There are other branded models that handle heat better. This is super subjective. One, is it in direct sunlight? Two, what are you shooting? Is it 24 frames? Is it 60 frames? Because that's going to be a massive difference in processing, right? Is there external battery hooked up to it? What memory cards you're using? Because believe it or not, memory cards usually overheat before cameras do, believe it or not. Especially with what we're doing with like 8K and things like that. What I would say is, one, try to keep it out of direct sunlight. I think that's a big thing. Some people make fun. There's guys in New York, I'm not kidding around, that have umbrellas attached to their bags just to shade the camera, which makes a big difference. Most cameras are black, you know? Tony's saying, did you update the firmware? Check the firmware though, and listen to me very clearly, guys. If it is a brand new firmware, no matter what it is, whatever product it is, whatever brand it is, give it a few weeks of it being out there in the wild, because you're going to find out that there might have been some bugs they didn't know about, and you don't want to be one of those people that finds out that there was a bug. So check the firmware. If it's like, you know, a version ago, sure, but if it just came out, just hold tight a little bit and wait to see what happens. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what. I know Canon was releasing firmware updates, but then they took them down because there was issues with some card capacities or whatever. So I'm just saying, be mindful. Another thing, when you are filming on a camera, sorry, somebody's walking around with like a speakerphone. If you guys are filming on a camera on a hot day, don't leave it running. Okay, if you're not filming, shut it down. Let it cool out. Some things you can do to help mitigate is open your card door, take the screen, make sure your screen is off the back of the camera, right? And open up your battery chamber when you can. That helps out. It's nice and venting. However, and listen to me, some brands, while the cameras are on, you cannot open the card door, for example. It'll shut down the camera. Nikon doesn't do that, but there are some brands that do shut down when you open the door. If you don't need both cards in at once, and it's a 2-card slot camera, the other card slot becomes a vent. So there's that as well, you know. But in the end, you kind of want to have another body on standby. If you're going to be in extreme heat, it's just smarter. Speaking of bags, do you still like your Wandered bag? I love my Wandered bag. The Wandered Provoke is my favorite bag, man. I'm into it. I'm sticking with the V3, I think. But, and I did just back their everyday carry bag they're putting out, which is like a Provoke, but without the hardcore photo end of it, you know? So this this straw that I have is cracked. I don't know what it's made of, but it is cracking all over. So every time I drink coffee, it's like carbonated now. Driving me nuts. Man. Yeah, the other card slot can totally be a vent. Yeah. But if you're shooting to 2 cards redundantly or whatever, it's not an option. So, you know, this is a really janky trick and I don't recommend it, but I'll let you have it anyway. And again, don't just do this for the sake of doing this, but if you're in a hard spot, if you take the screen off the back of the camera and you take a can of compressed air and turn it upside down so it's like Freon, I've sprayed the back of my cameras to quickly get some heat off of them, especially in extreme heat environments. You know what I'm talking about? When you take a can of compressed air they usually use for dust cleaning, turn upside down, just give it a quick spray, just a little bit. Let the frost hit it, let it eat up some of that heat while the camera's off. Don't get it inside your viewfinder, you know? But that's a kind of like a way to draw some heat off of the camera body, you know? Yeah. I'm glad you love the randomness of these live streams. This is how I've learned, and this is how I think, and this is how I do things. So I'm hoping there is a lot of you out there that respond to the randomness because, one, it's not boring, right? It's never boring, right? And I think it also shows on the spot who you're learning from on these channels, who's talking to you, who's talking with you, you know? And I think it's also important to have one thing that the most valuable thing I got when I was assisting other photographers was the thought process, hearing these professionals talk out loud while they were working. And I think that kind of happens here a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know how you guys absorb these live streams. But what I do need, what I am going to ask of you is I need you guys to let a friend know that these are happening. Make sure we grow the channel. Make sure we grow these live streams. So I'll be very honest with you. The numbers on this specific series are not stellar. But some of you are here every week and are totally into it. And that's who I'm here for. I'm here for the people that are, let's go, right? And I know listen, these streams aren't titled like a topic for a search engine optimization. They're not chaptered. They're not hitting trendy topics or whatever. They're just like, hey, episode 20, what are we gonna do? I don't know, we'll find out. Because I don't know what we're gonna do because it's up to you guys with the questions. And then I don't know if I'm gonna tackle said question, you know? So what I need is help from you guys to grow this channel. I really wanna get it to a silver play button. That would mean everything to me. If I could get a silver play button for this channel, would be a massive flex. It would also help out all my colleagues that I book in here for you guys, all the amazing instructors you guys have had on this channel for free. If they can just be plugged into a channel that's been built up, that's valuable. That is appreciated. That is something for them to have prestige as well. And everybody appreciates that. You know, all we ask of you guys is to hit subscribe if you haven't, hit like on whatever you're watching, tell a friend to jump in here, and let's just make this whatever it can. We have 1.4 million on the main channel. We can get to 100K on this one. You feel me? This is, and maybe I'm biased, but this is very special to have something like this where you can, in New York, you can come and sit down and hang out with people that are just like you, learn from people who are doing what you're trying to do, ask questions directly to a chat, directly in a chat to whoever is trying to show you something. I mean, are you kidding me? You can watch this on your phone while you're going for a jog or whatever, right? So, Brian's saying the randomness mimics much of my life as a photographer. Yes, it does. Often when I arrive, I have no idea exactly what I was going to do. Yeah, look, we assess the situation. We see what we have at our disposal for tools. We see the goal that we're trying to achieve, and we get there, you know? This weekly shoot session feels the most like your average working photographer's day. A little bit all over the place, chaos quick, but great results in the end. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And yo, no joke, every Monday I shoved stuff into a backpack thinking, hopefully I'll be able to fill an hour. Every time I hit go, I worry if I will fill the hour. That is legitimate. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I can talk, obviously, we know that, right? But it could fall flat. If you guys aren't in this chat, there is no heartbeat. There is no life to this if you guys are not in this chat. You have it easy with education these days, much appreciated. Well, let's talk about that for a quick second. Is it easy? Because there's so much free, but are you getting correct information, proper education? Are you learning from people that even know what they're talking about? Anybody can start a YouTube channel. There's a lot of people just throwing information around, but where is it coming from and who are the people you're adopting from and is it working for you? Or how many of you have been following certain channels or went to some classes or whatever, and then you get to a channel like ours and all of a sudden we're rewiring the way you're thinking about things because maybe it wasn't the best information. So it's kind of a catch-22. You have to vet for yourself what is working for you. Okay, where are we at? We'll give it another like few minutes. Last questions, guys. And if you can hit like, I would appreciate it. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. I want the 100K. You know, it is still hard. Absolutely. And if you guys don't know, by the way, if you're new here and you don't know who I am, the music is going to copyright me. If you don't know who I am, you can check out my work on Instagram, check out my classes on my own channel, but you have amazing people on this channel. Ab Cisse, Joe McNally, Lindsay Adler, Charles Chesler did a demo. You got Bob Davis coming on, Drew Garion's coming on, Chris Knight did an amazing demo. He's got another one coming up. Chloe Ramirez was here. Johnny Edward was the last one we just did. Gary Hughes crushed it. I mean, it's just massive, massive, you know. Your discussion on parabolic reflectors made me finally understand the difference. Go watch Ab Cisse's video. Geez, let me put that in the chat really quick. If you thought that was a good talk on parabolic reflectors, check out this link in the chat. The man, Ab Cisse, did the best video on parabolics, hands down. You get Chris Knight to show up. This channel's legit. Chris is a friend of mine, and Chris is one of those guys where if he talks to you like you're a colleague, you kind of feel you're like, you know, I feel very fortunate that there's people on such standards and levels in this industry that I can call a friend or a peer. I still can't believe I'm doing workshops with Joe McNally. I remember reading his books while I was on like a BMX bike, you know. That is priceless to me. And I try not to take it for granted. So I take this space as a responsibility to make sure we have a house for all these amazing people to teach all you amazing people, you know. YouTube education was confusing. I signed up for the New York Institute of Photography and studied that online. Oh, how'd that go for you? Gary's demo was awesome. Gary is such a great resource, great person, great photographer, great educator, and he connects with people in such a way. It's amazing. There's a lot of people that will connect with people, but more of like an entertaining kind of way. Like I feel that's kind of how I do it, is I just yell really loud. Like 30% of my style comes from pro wrestling, right? So I feel like people just don't forget me, but I don't know about how much I connect. Gary connects, and that's why he's an amazing headshot photographer. He really is. I one of the best in the game, hands down. And it's amazing, the different styles, perspective points, educator styles. Like there's shooting style, there's educator style, there's all sorts of things. And look, I'm not a trained educator. I don't have a master's in anything. I never taught classes till Daniel Norton kicked me into this space like he was throwing me to the wolves. And I was like, I guess I'll figure out how to show you guys. I think the first class I taught here was speedlights. I think it was. Yeah, he is very entertaining. You and Gary are scheduled to teach at Imaging 2026 at the same time. Which one to watch? Okay, I'm going to make this very clear. The program I'm putting together for Imaging in 2026 is going to basically be an amalgamation of other classes I've done, from technical to conceptual. So if you've been to my other classes about like sculpting light or the cinematic narrative and all that stuff, it's going to be similar notes. It's never the same because I just kind of wing it. But if you've been to it and you've gotten what you need out of it, go to Gary's. All right. It's okay. I won't be hurt. This is going to be, I keep saying it's going to be my last stage, but like, I think I'm kind of at a point where I need to step back off the platform stuff so much. I don't know what else I don't know. I just shoot, man. It's very hard for me to go, here's an hour, pick a topic and stick to it. I have so much trouble doing that. And that's another reason why I haven't booked myself to do a formal demo in here, is because I don't know what to do. I'm like, I can do this, no problem. To do a formal, curated demo, I wasn't happy with the last one I did in here forever ago, and you know, it is what it is. JC Carey is actually going to be a guest on Coffee with Creators in September. No, August. Yes, he's going to be a guest, so make sure you tune in for that. If you don't know JC Carey, he's the Westcott guy. All right. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. I thought Johnny's talk at C2C was full of gems. I appreciate his varied background, ability to keep processes easy to understand. Yeah, I mean, Johnny goes for a certain vibe and look. And if you look at his work, there's differences, but you can always see that he's going for that same elegance. And I think, you know, being able to boil it down for you guys is a nice way to see a different perspective point on a style you might not have thought about, you know? Oh, this shirt is so old. It's actually, like, I'm not even joking with you. It's like hard. Like, I'm hoping it doesn't crack or something. This shirt is awesome. I forgot where I got it, but I know it was like some artist did it. And this is one of the most famous scenes in one of the best movies of all time, The Professional. If you do not know this movie, especially if you're from New York, shame on you. The Professional, or Leon is for the international cut, but one of my favorite movies ever. I think I even played this for Vanessa Joy because I was like, you never saw this movie? And I think I had her watch it on a laptop. So, oh man. Okay, I'm at 1:30. All right, last questions, guys. So all the usual stuff is happening. We are cranking. And if you are new to this channel, there are 2 years of classes, talks, panels, announcements, demos, anything out of this amazing magical cube of space. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you go watch some past stuff. Don't just let it sit there. Go watch it. Throw on the playlist when you're editing or whatever. You'd be surprised what sticks. You'll be surprised what you've seen live and missed while you're watching it, you know? From one OG wrestling fan to another, you got to get the Undertaker portrait. You know, it would have to be a Undertaker portrait that no one's ever shot before. And that man has been photographed back and front, and he is in pure retirement land for sure. However, we'll see what happens on the pro wrestling front for me. I don't want to say anything, but we might see something at some point. I don't want to talk about it. But I do think that my SFX character style applied to pro wrestler characters would be awesome. But anyway. No, it's totally cool. If you catch the replays, it's cool. Just write me a comment and let me know that you caught it on the replay. Every comment helps this channel, helps those videos, helps the algorithm, makes me feel like it's been worthwhile blowing my voice out on a Monday so that I can then talk to you again on a Wednesday for Coffee Creators, all right? So, yeah. Yeah, and don't forget, Marcus is here on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern on the main channel, Coffee Creators. He is one of our own. So it is your job to file into that chat and cause a riot scene. Hit like, drop comments, share it around. This is one of our people here. All right, I wanted to make sure it's not all the usual people you see on podcasts and stuff. This is a working photographer that's one of you guys that is legitimately out there getting commercial work on subway ads that no one will ever know it's his. But my man did the job, right? He did the job. All right. Water, water, water. Okay. Hopefully one day I can get Gavin in here. Flying him in from the UK is going to be a little challenging, but one day, guys. If the channel gets big enough, the bigger the channel gets, the more value it's perceived to have, the more resources I get to bring you cool stuff, cool guests, cool things. Just saying, guys, we got to grow this thing. So if you've got a photo forum you're a part of, or you've got a meetup group, a camera club, or whatever, let them know that they can jump in here on Mondays and hang out. And this channel is full of resources for them. And it's pretty cool when people show up to the event space and are just like, I've seen all the stuff and now I'm here. This is cool. And it's like, all right, not bad, not bad. All right. This is not the sock for this umbrella, but it's okay. I figure I'll keep the stream running while I'm packing up. Maybe because I realize I'm here after the bell anyway, packing up, so I might as well be here, hang out with you guys. Let me know if you guys have any other questions that you want me to get into while I'm trying to make this not a disastrous mess. I would love to get Gavin on CWC, and let me tell you something. That guy on those live streams, that guy in those videos is the exact guy. He is so genuine. I love him. Love that guy. Makes so much happen. Makes so many people psyched to shoot. You know, you can't not respect him. You can't not love the guy. David Bergman appearance. So David Bergman was on Coffee with Creators. I would book him for a demo, but my man's always on the road with Luke Combs, you know? I'll talk to David, see if he's around. I'll give him a text later or something. Is this the bag for this? This is the bag for this. David Bergman's an OG of the channel. He had 2-minute tips forever. And then, oh no, this doesn't go there. This comes off. Every brand has their own way of packing stuff in a case to make it all fit. It can get maddening after a while. So out of all the demos that are coming up, which ones are you guys most excited for? Tell me where your heads are at. So we've got, don't forget, we've got the critique tomorrow night, but Chris Knight on Wednesday, Bob Davis on Thursday. Next week is going to be Drew Gurian. And then we've got Daniel Norton on Thursday. So let me know where your heads are at. Which demos are you psyched on? What size power flash would you say is your go-to travel everywhere light? So I've been using Profoto B10Xs as my travel light. They're pretty small and compact and very efficient. I feel like they have great battery life for what they are. They also have a good modeling light. If I need a constant light in a pinch, I can use them. And they basically pack down to be like a big lens. That's basically what it is, you know? And I mix them with A2s and A10s, like speed light type stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been using. Basically, what can I fit into a carry-on that's going to make the most impact and give me the most versatility out there on the road, right? So a 250 watt, like this is a 500 watt second light. The B10 is this big, like this big, and I get 250 watts out of it. So, and keep in mind, I'm shooting mainly like single portraits and stuff like that. So, probably mastering one light. You know, if mastering one light, people don't realize that how much you can get out of that, even in multi-light setups. If you master single light and really, really get the most out of it, imagine when you have more lights. Your key light alone, right? The light you're going to use to create the shape of your subject gets that much more dialed in, you know? All right, I love, oh no, I love how I bring out all this stuff and I never touch any of it when we're live. This is like my MO constantly with you guys. David Bergman has an interesting recent video on white background with Erica modeling. Last setup in that video is great. That's awesome. White backgrounds, in my opinion, are something everybody should learn. To do them properly, to do them clean. If you are trying to get some money in your pocket doing commercial work, a white background can do it for you, you know? Probably mastering with live. I'm not really sure about the V10 versus V10. I'm not really sure what that's about, if I'm being very honest. All right. And don't forget, Flashpoint and Godox are one and the same pretty much. There are some, you know, models that have a tweak or change here or there, but the thing about Flashpoint is that it's covered by Adorama. So if there's some issue, you can just contact Adorama or come in here and they'll take care of you. That's a pretty big peace of mind if you ask me. If you ask me. All right, I'm gonna put this in here, put this charger in here. I pulled out 3 lights for this demo and we never shot anything. Would you ever record and post more videos from your actual shoots? If it's from a paid job, no. I do not exploit clients and I do not, so no, I don't, I left that question up the whole time. I don't, if I'm working, I'm working. I don't use my channel or any channels while I'm doing an actual job for my career, right? Does that make sense? There are some cases where it kind of like mixes over. Like there was years ago when I was shooting for a makeup school. It wasn't that serious. It wasn't that big of a deal. And there were some cool things and I could do a quick lesson, fine. But I've got to focus on my job, you know? If anything, what you might get is if it's allowed and if I have someone, I can film BTS of me working and then maybe later I'll do a talking part while that's playing as B-roll, maybe. But in my world is, no, I'm working, I'm doing this. I'm not doing this, you know? So, yeah. What is this? This is the projection head. Let's put this back. All right. Any other questions, guys? No, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you. Appreciate it, Michael. And you know what? It also benefits the chat when as we grow this channel, you get more point of views, perspectives, questions that you might not have thought about, all sorts of stuff, right? So I at least, I don't know, that's just my opinion, I guess. All right, this goes in here. Like, I have no idea how this gets in here. Like this, I guess, no? I should have, no, I think that works. Yeah, sure, that works. Why not? We'll go with that. Okay, this goes here. You love the soda can light, easy to carry. I forget the Flashpoint equivalent is the Evolve 100. And I did the video for that. And I did the umbrella trick during that. Let me see. Seth Miranda Evolve 100. Explore 100? Maybe it's the Explore 100. Yeah, Explore, that's right. Explore 100. Yep. So I did this video. This is a while ago. You can see that it's like a time warp a little bit, but yeah, I did single light portrait for my actor friend, did in a big umbrella, got him, and then I changed out the light looking for it. I shot it. Oh, look at that. I shot it into the ceiling and I put it through a 4-foot diffuser to make a bigger, softer light that looks like this. So I had a short ceiling, a small light but made a big light happen. There you go, case in point, right there. That is with one light. There's definitely a bounce board in there, but look how even the background is relatively. Look at how clean the light looks on him. And that is a tiny light with a low ceiling, pushed through a diffuser with a reflector, and we got that look. And then I flipped it up and I gave him more of a structured, contrastier look. So you can check out that link. I put it in the chat room. You guys can check that. Your light always looks so clean and white, if that makes any sense. You know, that's funny that you say that. And I don't know if it's like something that's been going on lately, but I've gotten that a few times within the last couple years. And I think what's happening is people are setting their white balance on their cameras to flash. And because they do that, the camera manufacturers put in a lot of yellowish warmth, because that flash isn't studio flash. That flash is speed lights, and most speed lights, not all of them, but most speed lights under a certain price point shoot very, very blue. And so the camera's balancing it out. And so then I think when people say, hey, it doesn't look as white, you don't realize that your light doesn't look as neutral till you see how it could look when it's neutral. Does that make sense? So if you're shooting literally a white painted mannequin and a gray background, you can clearly see your color shifts, right? So the flash white balance, stay off of that if you're doing studio strobe. If you're not sure about doing actual custom temperatures, go to daylight white balance. Your flash white balance is really about the speed light type white balance. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, so you're saying it looks a little too yellow or too blue. So if it's too blue, a lot of times that's you guys balanced wrong for a softbox, because a softbox might be putting in a cooler tone to mitigate for the warmth that you might be white balancing for, like I just said. I know, it's spaghetti, I get it. Put it on daylight white balance and go from there, okay? If you are really, really struggling, get yourself a color checker. You get the Passport one. It's like this big. It closes into a hard shell, and just throw it in the first shot, and you'll always have that at least, and you can neutral from there. At least with raw files, you can dial back on color temperature, okay? So, hey, what's up, Brad? How are you? Hey, Sharky, how are you, man? Hope you're well. If you guys don't know, Sharky James has a photo podcast you guys can listen to all the time. He's been around forever, this guy, so make sure you check out his podcast. On another note, shout out to Adorama Sales, Jeff Phillips. He recently helped me out with an issue, and I greatly appreciate him at Adorama. Awesome. I will try to pass that along. I don't know Jeff, but I'll pass it along if I can. All right, I still got more stuff to pack up, because I pulled out all this junk for you guys, and we shot nothing because we got into a rabbit hole about parabolic reflectors like a bunch of nerds. But that's okay. That's what we're doing here, right? Every Monday we're doing this, right? I do kind of want to try out the Pro Photo small spot and see how much I can push this thing. Because it has such a large chamber and it seems very ventilated, I think I can go pretty hard with this before I have any overheat issues. Sharky, I don't even know where you're located. Can you even get to New York, man? I don't even know if you can. I just realized, you're in Vegas, right? No, that's not you. My brain's a mess, guys. Come on. You guys know I've had head injuries and nothing's right with me. And I'm just bananas. How heavy is that spot? The Pro Photo one is nothing. I shouldn't have done that because it's about $1,500, but it's pretty light, which is nice because keep in mind, your light goes on this, and this weight would be the stress on your fixture. So that's kind of nice. Also, it's going to defend it's also going to depend on what lens you put on it, of course, you know. Okay, what else I got to pack up? I got to put her away. I'll do that after we're live. I'm just racking up watch time at this point, guys. No, just kidding. Let me get rid of this tether that we're not using. It's mostly air. I mean, really, it's a chamber. It's a chamber that is giving a certain distance that is also allowing for travel for the blades and all this other stuff. Boise, Idaho. Yeah, I can't say I will ever be in Boise, Idaho, But Sharky, if you ever come into New York, you know to hook me, to drop me a line. You know that. 1.5K. It's not air. It really isn't. It is. This is not air. When you have, it's precision tools that are made to optimize what you're trying to do and not have to worry about things like overheating. There's also a frosted lens. Actually, I think there's 2 frosted lenses in there. Can you guys see that? The frosted lens. Yeah. And then they give you a lens, which I didn't even open up yet. Let's see what the lens looks like on this. Oh, look at that. Okay, this has a bit of weight to it. I'm not gonna lie. This feels like it's got a little bit of a, it's a 115 millimeter chunk of glass right there, you know? And I mean, since it's a screw focus, you can really dial in very precisely how you want to focus that light. Has to get a little broken in. What would the frost lens do in there? It creates diffusion, so it will spread the light more even through the gobo. So instead of it just being light ripping through a stencil, it hits the frosted glass, makes an even projection. Think of it this way. Remember the ground glass on the back of a 4x5? That glass is making an even projection from whatever's coming from that lens. This is doing the opposite direction. It's light going through that frosted glass, making an even light to then go hit that gobo and then get refined by the optical, right? So light source, frosted lens, even light, gobo projected out by the lens, the optical lens. Make sense? So what I don't know is, does it optimize power? I don't know. Heat? I don't know. I haven't messed with it yet, but ProPhoto dropped it off here for me to play with. And I have not had a chance to play because I haven't. I'm trying to keep the channels going for you guys. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Right? Does that translate to you guys? In my head, it makes sense. It sounded right, but I hope it made sense coming through a chat room, you know? Let's see what it can do. You know what? I'm trying to wrap out this stream. Maybe next stream we'll mess around with it. I don't know. Yeah. I like that it comes with a case because I have a Fresnel lens from ProPhoto that costs a good amount of money. That does not come with a case, ProPhoto. I have to get a drum case for it. What are you doing to me, ProPhoto? But it is stunning, that Fresnel lens. Actually, we used that Fresnel lens on, was it the first or second episode of this or third episode of this? You know? Now I have a demo topic, how to use an optical spot. Is that really a demo? That feels like you know, I get a little weary about doing stuff that's like about a specific piece of gear because I don't want it to come off salesy. I just want you guys to have an idea of what tools are available out there for you to pull off whatever you're trying to pull off. And you know, the options can range from what's more cost effective to what it actually does, you know. Ask Chris Knight if he uses them. He does use them, and maybe I'll lend it to him for his demo. I don't know. He's going to come in here and be like, what do you got? Oh, no, his hands will be in a sweater. He'll be like this. In like, he'll look like he's been by a fireplace all day. He'll come in, he'll be like, what do you got? And then he'll shoot something amazing because he's Chris Knight. Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. I'm over here sweating my brains out, doing 10,000 looks. Every time I do a demo for you guys, it's like 10 billion looks. I'm flying through styles. And then these guys do like one shot and like, that's a demo. And I go, why am I doing 4 demos in one demo? That's my big problem. Gary Hughes tells me this all the time. He's like, your first 10 minutes of one of your demos would have been a whole class for me. And I'm like, Man, I am doing this wrong. I am just burning through content, you know, burning through it. You filled 35 minutes on an umbrella and parabolic modifiers, an hour on optical spot use would be good. Okay. I did not expect to go into parabolics today. Otherwise, I would have sourced the parabolic to really do it with. Or I would have brought mine from my studio. But I didn't do that because I didn't know I was going to get into parabolics. Parabolics is such it's such a rabbit hole, from the style of fabric to the roundness of it, to the depth, to the size, to the zoom rod, to the fidelity of it, to the even reasoning behind it, to the unbelievable variables you'd have from the distance of your parabolic to subject, then the focusing of the rod, which is another set of variables. Like, it's just, you have so many options with it that when someone uses a parabolic and you're getting a specific amazing look out of it, you have to just kind of go, all right, they know what they want. They're going for it. You know, and just like any other modifier, not everything works with that specific modifier. Just like I don't believe a beauty dish is for every shot, but some people out there will be like, oh, I use a beauty dish for everything. It's like, what are you doing? Who are you? Why are you like this? You know? Yeah. Can you believe we're about to hit August? In my head, I'm already thinking about Comic-Con, which happens in October here. And I'm like, I got to go there and film a video for my channel because that's what we do. They gave me another content creator pass. So if you want, on my channel, I'll be putting out I guess my third Comic-Con video. Kind of crazy. I never thought it would turn into a thing, but they appreciate it. Oh, you know what I found that I was going to use? I found this giant sheet of foam. And I was like, oh, I wonder if we can make a giant modifier out of this, or some kind of cool background. So maybe next week we'll do this. Someone in this chat remind me I said this so that I do this next week, okay? I'm going to keep this here. What do I feel the most versatile modifier is? Interesting. Umbrellas are pretty versatile, but I can do a lot with a 3-foot octa because you still get the control, you still get the surface area to do some feathered light tricks. You can do the half grid thing. I guess a 3-foot, 4-foot octa, maybe. Yeah, so next week, somebody remind me that I said this, okay? Remind me. Let me watch. You know what's going to happen is I'm going to leave this here and someone's going to throw it out. Everybody say, take care to, everyone say, take care to Quinn. She's going home now. Wave goodbye to the people. Wave goodbye to them. She's going away, guys. There she goes. It's funny. I've been playing this game, Lies of P, which is like a Pinocchio meets Bloodborne, but everything is a puppet, and I keep on thinking about the mannequins like coming to life and stuff. All right, you got what you need? Good. All right, well, you know, take a seat in your armchair. There you go. I'll put the TV on. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You know what? I got to tell you, I get so nervous that every day I come in here, something's going to happen to Quinn. Like her arm is going to be broken or her face is going to be chipped or something. I'm always so nervous that it's like, I'm like, no, I hope she's okay. Sheila in our studio, I think she's from the late 80s, I think. And she was brush painted like a million times. She's been through it. That woman's seen some stuff. But at Quinn, she's got a whole career ahead of her, you know? I just don't want anything to happen to her, you know? I touch her up with whiteout, make her feel pretty again, you know? Yeah, Mike, I just figured if I'm gonna pack up, I might as well just leave it going, you know? Pass that for now. Stylistic walk. That's a stylistic walking choice. Yeah. Oh man. This is going to be a hectic week, guys. Tomorrow, the photo critique. Then we got, what do we got? We got Chris Knight. Then we got Bob Davis. Then next week we got Drew Gurian. And Drew, I don't even know if Drew's ever done a live demo here, but dude is amazing. I'm a big fan of Drew. He was on Coffee with Creators. One of his first jobs was shooting a U.S. president. I mean, that's crazy, right? Can you imagine that? Like, all right, I'm going for it. Okay, your first job, get to the White House. And while Secret Service is breathing down your neck, photograph the president. It's like, what? You gotta love it. You gotta love this stuff, you know? Oh, come on, Quinn. Give me a little bit of room. You're kind of crowding me here. Come on, kiddo. Come on, kiddo. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get back. Quinn, get back. Get back. No, Quinn. No. Man, this is my least favorite part of the event space, is how I have to constantly make sure things are like tucked into weird places, so I at least have enough room to breathe and move. Oh. How do you get that as a first job? Ask him. Jump in the chat and ask him. Or check out his episode of Coffee with Creators. He was probably a year ago by now, I think. Yeah. Wait, what was that? Okay. You're killing me, Quinn. Yeah. Quinn's crowding me, man. She's crowding me, bro. You know? All right. Let me take this, put it back over here. How often do people look through those windows? People look at the stuff that's in the windows, but years ago, they didn't have like pillars and stuff. You really could look through them. In the very first event space, the first iteration, Daniel actually lit it so that there was, I think what he did was he put CTO gels on everything and then balanced so that the daylight coming through the window would appear like really blue. I remember when we rebuilt the event space the second time, we were taking out all these old gels that were like very brittle. And then Daniel was like, yeah, the whole idea was so there would be like the Today Show and there would be people like in the back watching through, but there really was never a crowd. And 2, it was very distracting when you're shooting a demo. And 3, you really kind of want to have more light control sometimes. So there was that. Imagine lugging around a 75-inch Octa. You act like I haven't done, are you talking about the light motive? Are you talking about the indirect light motive? You act like I've never lugged those around, bro. I've walked multiple rolls of 9-foot seamless up and down the West Side Highway. That is way far down on my Instagram, but it's there. I don't miss those days at all, that's for sure. It's kind of crazy how portable things have gotten, how much we're able to get away with and do. You know what? I'm going to stash this because maybe we'll use it for another thing sometime. I was going to take something home, and I can't remember why I was going to take it home or what it was. My brain's all scrambled. All right. We are at 2 o'clock, guys. I have to officially break down the stuff that's going to affect the stream. So listen, you guys are always welcome here. Whenever I can get in here for a Monday stream, I'm going to be here for you guys. This channel will be here for you every week. These chairs are here for you in person. This chat is always here for you. That comment section is there 24/7. Make sure if you're watching this on playback or any of the stuff on playback, you leave a comment, drop a like, and don't forget, you can go back and watch an older live stream. They don't really expire. The information is still the same. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys are looking back at what's already on this channel. Let us know in those comments what's working for you. Let us know which educators you're responding to. Let us know which topics you're responding to. And it's ours. This is ours, right? We built this, right? This is physically built by me, supported by Adorama, but it's ours, right? And we can't do any of this unless you fill those chat rooms, come to the events. If there's nobody in these seats as a presenter, it drives you crazy. So make sure you support. If you want things to stick around, you've got to be there for it, okay? I hope to see some of you here in person. I hope to see some of you here tomorrow night for the photo critique. And, you know, let me know in those comments if you did watch this back. If you watched it this far back, type waffles in the comments. I would love to see how many waffles I get in those comments. How many people watched it for 2 hours. You're kind of crazy. But I get it, because there's podcasts out there that are like 3 hours long. I will just play in the background while I'm doing 20 other things. So I just need noise, you know? No, I know, Brad. I know you do. And I see when I see the same names pop up in the chat all the time, I'm like, man, they're always here. And I hope you guys feel like you're part of something here. I hope you feel like this couldn't happen without you, because it can't. And there's going to be endless options out there for you to spend your time. But I'm just trying to let you know that what we do here, right where I stand, I try to make sure that it is people that are credible, that are at a level that can do this in a way that's viable and worthwhile for you, and that we are moving forward and helping everybody move forward, even if it's just making you want to go shoot, even if the technical wasn't a help or whatever, just that you have somewhere to go. Because when I was coming up, I had nowhere to go. And I had to beg guys to let me carry a bag to set for them so that I could be somewhere. This is here for you. This is for us. Okay, guys? Be good to each other. I will see you on Wednesday, Coffee with Creators with our very own Marcus Beasley. I will see you Wednesday night on this channel for Chris Knight. Thursday for Bob Davis. Next week, you're going to see Drew Girian, and Daniel Norton's going to cap out the month with softbox alternatives. So hopefully we can grow this channel. Hopefully we can get some more people in here. Hopefully we can I want this chat to be like unreadable. I want it to be like flying like crazy, guys. Make sure you show up, not just live, but after the fact. Watch the playbacks, leave comments, massive help. And if you're in New York, 42 West 18th Street, make sure you check out the QR code over here for the event schedule. Make sure you follow Adorama on Eventbrite, and make sure you're following Adorama on all social media. I'm talking Instagram, Twitter, TikTok even, Threads. I think the guy handling the Threads is doing a really good job, making some really good conversation going on there. And make sure you check out my channel here if you guys want to check out some more classes or things I've done or whatever. There's 140,000 subscribers on that channel, so there's got to be something doing something for somebody. Anyway, be good to each other. I will see you Wednesday. Be good to each other, guys. Later.